now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. I've received a series of comments from individuals looking to make excuses for that beta male who had that meltdown at that front desk at the Holiday Inn. And this group of individuals who want to make excuses for that beta male who had that meltdown at that Holiday Inn front desk, you're not helping this man be able to get himself together. All you're doing is continuing to enable his dysfunction. Now, many of these people want to try to make ad hominem attacks against my talking points in that video, but what those people don't know is that I worked at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop from 2000 to 2001. And while I was working at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop as part of the AmeriCorps Vista program, I worked with the hardest to place individuals as related to the job market. So I was working at Strive, working with participants who were ex-offenders. I was working with homeless people. I was working with single mothers. I was working with people who were in recovery from addiction, and I was also working with individuals who were dealing with some mental health issues. So I was working with a variety of individuals who were considered to be the most difficult to place in the job market. And as I was working at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop with these individuals in their program, I learned about all of the dysfunctional behaviors that led to many of these individuals having a hard time not only finding work, but being able to keep their jobs. So I know what happens when you're dealing with this kind of individual, and I also know about this type of dysfunction from my over 15 years of studying your so-called soft males or nice guys from my over a decade of research. And what I saw on display in that video was an individual who I definitely know was definitely not job ready. And I can say he's not job ready because from my experience working at the Strive program, when we dealt with individuals like this, if they were to act like this, we would have practically called this individual out for their behavior, and that person would have gone through some pain, because to put this type of individual on a job and have them act like this shows that this person doesn't understand the impact of their actions on the company that they work for, or the impact of their actions on themselves. So you have an individual who really is just caught up in themselves, caught up in their feelings about things. And many of these people out here, they are just so caught up in their feelings about this guy and his display of behavior that they don't understand that what he did was absolutely inexcusable, and anybody making excuses for this individual really does not understand how this man's behavior could have impacted the business. Now, some of these people looking to make excuses, they want to sit here and talk about, oh, how it was about race because this black man was berating him. But when you are in a business like hospitality, you are supposed to be, as part of your training, to understand you need to have a thick skin, because you're going to run into lots of customers who are going to get emotional. Some of them may even get personal, but you have to have a thick skin and be able to navigate through your emotions so that you don't act in a way that not only makes the company look bad, but also makes you look bad and costs you your job. That is one of the high talking points that I learned when I was working at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop is you have to learn how to carry and conduct yourself in a way that does not get you out of a job. But many of these people who want to make excuses, they want to turn this into a racial thing because they saw a video that Tariq Nasheed made as related to that footage. But I can look beyond race and see it as an issue of professionalism because this individual's behavior, what if he had done this with a CEO of a major corporation? Or what if he had done that type of display in the face of somebody from the news media? That whole video could have possibly gone all over the world, and it could have practically made an even more embarrassing scenario for the Holiday Inn Corporation. Because for people to sit there and try to deflect and try to talk about, oh, Tariq Nasheed's making it racial, no, this individual's behavior was absolutely, extremely unprofessional, and it is absolutely inexcusable for somebody to have a meltdown like this in a front desk position, because when you are working at a front desk, you are the face of the company and you represent that business to all of those customers that are out there. Now, there are other people who want to try to use this man's sexual orientation as a way to push a victim argument, but that holds no bearing here. Because, again, this is not about race, this is not about sexual orientation, this is not about gender identity. This is all about professionalism, and it doesn't matter who he is. It's all about him showing that he's going to be the person who has enough thick skin to take the high ground as related to an issue. Because while this customer was berating him about not getting his reservation, his whole behavior should have been in an effort to try to diffuse and de-escalate the customer and do things to let the customer know that he is sorry for the mistake. And even though he wasn't the one who made the mistake, as an employee, he is going to make an effort to rectify the issue in a professional manner. Now, that's what any good customer service representative is going to do. They are going to remain calm. They are going to be in control of their emotions, and they are going to try to focus on satisfying the customer. And it doesn't matter if the customer is recording them. It doesn't matter if the customer is verbally abusing them. They are going to understand that they cannot bring their feelings into this whole issue, and they're going to let that customer know that they're going to stay professional, because even as they're being recorded, they're going to know that, look, if management sees this video, they're going to want to present an example to management that they managed to keep themselves calm and they managed to continue following protocol and procedure as related to their position. They're not going to get to the point where they're going to be banging their head into a computer, crying, and then running off and punching themselves. That's not what a professional does in a professional situation, and they don't sit there and make excuses after they've participated in this behavior. Now, another talking point some of these people want to bring in is talking about how this individual had been drinking a few hours before, and again, that argument does not wash. Again, as someone who has worked with people who were in recovery, such as drug addicts and alcoholics at the Strive Job Readiness Workshop, I've dealt with these types of excuses, and again, we did not let that fly at Strive, and the only thing that this guy needed to do in that case, if that was the issue, was he needed to call out sick, because that's what anybody does if they have been drinking for several hours. They don't get on the road and go to work. No, what they do is they call the office and then they call out sick. So that excuse right there does not fly with me, because that's not something, again, a professional boss is going to accept as an excuse. So you have a whole host of people out here looking to make excuses for this beta male, but when it comes down to customer service positions, you have to take accountability and responsibility for your actions, because again, you are the face of the company, you are the face of the business, and you are the person that represents the business to the world. Now, a few of these other people out here, they want to sit here and make excuses for this beta male, talking about how he has some sort of mental issue. Now, this is another argument that they're trying to make as an effort to try to excuse this man's behavior. But again, this does not fly, because as someone who has worked with people who've had these types of disabilities, I understand that if you're in the workplace, you are there because your condition is not to the point where it's impairing your ability to perform. So to sit there and say, oh, this guy was schizophrenic or this or any other sort of issue, then I have to ask a critical question. If he has these mental issues, then why are you having this individual at your front desk and representing your company? That's critical question one I want to ask. And if this person's disabilities are so bad, or their mental health issues are so bad, then why hasn't someone gone out here and helped this man get supplemental security income so that he cannot go out here and be on the job being a threat to others and then being a threat to himself? That's another critical question I want to ask all of these people who want to make excuses for this beta male. If you know that this person has some sort of mental disability that makes him a liability to a company, then why don't we try to get this man some supplemental security income so that he won't be in the job market and won't be a danger to others? So a lot of people, again, they want to sit here and try to make excuses for this man's behavior, but you cannot excuse what the behavior we saw displayed in front of us. Because if this man was capable and competent enough to work for several years, then again, that argument doesn't wash. And if this is the case again, why don't we get this man out of the job market so he won't be a liability to a company? Because when you're working customer service, you're going to run into a lot of angry customers, frustrated customers, irate customers, and you're going to have to deal with those customers on a regular basis. And you're going to have to be able to have that thick skin, navigate through your emotions, and think critically in order to solve their problems. So that's something we did not see on display in that video. And all we're seeing now is a whole host of people caught up in their feelings and polarized on race, not really thinking about this in a critical way. And many of those same people, they're sitting here looking to enable this man's continued dysfunction, because they're sitting there having a GoFundMe for this individual and having this GoFundMe in order to pay for him to not work this job. And they've raised over $80,000 for this individual not to work. And I find that to be quite troubling, that you're going to raise over $80,000 for an individual not to work a $20,000 or $25,000 customer service job, which he should have never had in the first place. Because this individual, again, if he's so disturbed and so schizophrenic as some allege, this individual, he needs to be at the Social Security office applying for supplemental security income, because he clearly has a disability. And instead of raising money for a GoFundMe to pay this individual for his stresses, what people need to do is find this guy a lawyer and go get his SSI, disability benefits, so he can be taken out of the job market and not be a threat or a liability to a company. Because if he had a meltdown like this with an assertive customer who is just because he was black, imagine if he had a situation where he was dealing with one of these Karens or somebody else who he had an issue with. And imagine if this person, because he's so caught up in his feelings, goes out here and has a meltdown like this in front of, again, somebody like a CEO or somebody like one of these newscasters out here. He is going to be an embarrassment to the company, and he's going to be an embarrassment to the brand. So if this individual is not suitable for work or in a mental state where they can be job ready, then the whole thing is you can't make excuses for that, and you can't enable his dysfunction. You have to do things that hold this individual accountable, and you have to also take responsibility so this individual does not do harm to others or do harm to themselves. And if this person is so mentally incompetent or incapable of working in the job market, then we have something called Social Security disability benefits or supplemental security income, and this individual needs to go out here and apply for those programs. But nobody wants to deal with that, because that means you're going to say that this white male is less than, and this white beta male is somebody who is extremely dysfunctional. And it seems like some in the media, they don't want to hold this guy to that standard, because it would mean that you would be admitting that he was dysfunctional in the face of the black man. But what they want to do is say, we are punishing the black man by saying that we're going to ban him from the store, from the hotel. But as I see it, all you're doing is enabling his dysfunction, because this dysfunctional individual, he was just not fit for the job market. He just was not job ready. And as I stated before in my previous video, he was a ticking time bomb, like I talk about as related to beta males in my book, The Man Crisis. And this man in crisis possibly could have led to a situation where that hotel, Holiday Inn, would have been liable had this individual gone out here and acted even in a more egregious fashion. Now, some of these individuals, they want to come out here and make ad hominem attacks against me for making this video. They want to talk about how I'm a beta male, but no, I am not a beta male. No, I am not submitting to female authority figures, nor do I go out here and get emotional in the face of a personal attack. And I also know that when you are having a video and people are going into personal attacks, that means that that individual has presented an argument you cannot refute. And if you have to go into name calling and personal attacks, it means that I've already won the argument, because you cannot debate the talking points based on the logical points I have presented. And many of these individuals, they want to go into making name calling and talking about, oh, he's got toys in the background. Well, as a toy collector, I understand that these toys have value, and they also are wealth building assets. So you're sitting here trying to, again, go into ad hominems to attack someone, because you cannot present a logical argument to defend this dysfunctional beta male's behavior. And you want to sit here and try to make all these excuses for him, but there is no excusing his behavior, because when you are in a customer service position, again, you represent the company and you are the face of the company. And in addition to working at Strive, the Job Readiness Workshop, in 2000, I have also worked at many customer service jobs, like when I bagged at groceries at Food Emporium back in 1996 to 1997, and I had to deal with my fair share of unruly customers in that job. I had to deal with customers who wanted their packages bagged faster. I had to deal with customers who wanted their products bagged a certain way. And I did not get emotional about it. I did not go into a meltdown about it. I just handed the customer their products the way they wanted to and let them be on their way. The same thing when I worked at the science library at the City College of New York. I also had to deal with a lot of unruly library patrons who, in some cases, got emotional because the book they wanted wasn't available. Some people were getting upset because they had issues with reserves, and I didn't get upset with these people. And while I was working at that City College library, I was also dealing with anxiety issues, and I still managed to come to work every day. And I managed to come to work every day on time, and I managed to stay professional every day I was at that job. So when I hear this guy and he's having a meltdown and he's practically on screen bashing his head into a computer, screaming, not screaming, but crying, and then going out here and punching himself in the face and rushing off to the back, this is not professional behavior, and you cannot excuse that kind of behavior, nor can you enable it, because when you're working in a service job like the hospitality industry and you give an excuse to a guy like this, all you're doing is encouraging more people to act unprofessional at your front desk, and all you're doing is encouraging more people to put a negative image out there of your company and your business. But that doesn't matter to many of these people who are so caught up in their emotions on race that they're not really thinking critically about their business. Because any business person like myself, they're going to sit there and say, this guy is out here, he's acting in an unprofessional way, and we need to get this guy off the front desk, and we need to get him out of our business because he's not good for the face of our company. And if we have to, we're going to go get him a lawyer. We're going to go try to get this guy his supplemental security income benefits and make sure that he is taken care of economically so that he is not a part of the job market. But many of these people, again, so caught up in their emotions about this whole situation because Tariq Nasheed made a video on it, they're not really thinking about the big picture as to professionalism as related to professional conduct, and they would rather go out here and get emotional trying to defend this individual who has participated in completely indefensible behavior on the job and has practically made his company, Holiday Inn, look absolutely terrible in the face of every tourist out here and made them think twice about thinking about going to use this hotel chain, because it's not about this man being black and angry. It's all about professionalism, and it's all about providing the best customer service. And if this male is too soft to go out here and represent the front desk, as I have observed, then he should not be at the front desk. He should be waiting for his check at the first of the month and waiting to get those benefits at the first of the month. Because if you're not capable of, doing this kind of work, then you should not be on the job. So that's how I see it as related to this beta male. He's somebody who really is a danger to everybody. But what's even more dangerous is we've got individuals who want to make excuses for this kind of man, leading to a man in crisis allowing to be circulated in our society. And this ticking time bomb, if left too long, will simmer, boil, and explode. And he's going to do harm to somebody out here, because if he'd go into a tantrum like this in a job with an unruly customer, I shudder to think about what he may possibly do in a situation if he can't get his way at work with a boss, or if he can't get his way in any other sort of personal situation, because it's clear to me he has no sort of problem solving skills or critical thinking skills, and is somebody you really don't want on your job, and somebody you don't really want to be out here without any sort of supervision. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to learn more about why dysfunctional individuals like this participate in their dysfunctional behavior, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.